Well, this is the second Winter Series event for MOYAK this year at Lake of the Ozarks. Kind of a nasty day, off and on heavy winds, off and on heavy rain. And to start off the day, I was throwing a glide bait and jerk bait and rock crawler, trying to get an active bite because it was raining and it was in the morning. But couldn't get anything going right off the bat. That last video and this video were about 20 to 30 minutes apart, so you can tell the variation in the conditions. I was also a little bit protected in this pocket. I started throwing a jig, just trying to look for a bite. I was throwing a finesse jig and started finding them just up against this chunk rock. I caught 4 fish pretty quickly, probably in a matter of 20 minutes, all within a 50-foot stretch on this bank here, just slow fishing a jig. And by the way, I decided to do a voiceover for this video because for some reason the angle of my GoPro stick was just situated just the wrong way, so it would bang up against one of the rods I had in my rod holder, which was pretty annoying to listen to. So I cut the main volume down and speaking over it. And because in some of these clips it's pretty windy and rainy, so you can't even hear anything I'm saying anyways. I was catching these fish on the jig, starting to get confident about the rest of the day because I could feel the bite pretty well for a winter bite, and it was a rapid succession that I caught them in, and I felt like I got a solid pattern out of it. But I might have only caught one other fish the whole day on a jig. I couldn't replicate this pattern wherever I went. I'm guessing it was just some kind of a morning bite. But that's how it goes sometimes. This is my lone bass. No, I caught a second bass. It was smaller than this, but my one of my 2 largemouth on a glide today. I threw it for probably 2 hours trying to make it work. It just made sense that it would work, but it never did. Not for how often I used it, but still fun to catch fish on a glide. Also threw the rock crawler around a bit. Caught a few shorts on it. It's kind of hard to fish the rock crawler at Lake of the Ozarks unless you're in specific areas or certain points like this one that just doesn't have a dock on it, just because there's so many cables everywhere and a lot of the banks are too steep for it to work real well. Finally gave up with the glide bait and the jig and the rock crawler after 3 hours of no fish. Picked up a jerk bait, and even though I'd occasionally worked the jerk bait in throughout the day, I just wasn't getting any bites on docks that were windblown and that were in the right depth and everything that I thought fish would be under, and just kind of locked it in my hand the last 40 minutes or so and ended up catching a few. At this point, I had about 20 to 30 minutes to go, and I was in 5th place, pretty far behind first place. Only had 15 3/4, my biggest fish, and a bunch of 13s and 14s. So not a great limit. Needed 1 kicker to possibly jump into the check line and 2 kickers to put in a bid for first. But I just kind of locked that jerkbait in my hand and kept going, hoping for the best, because I was working on a few hours of nothing with the jig and the glide bait. Felt really good catching that fish. I hadn't caught a fish of that size in a few tournaments, and came at just the right time to jump me up into the check line. Caught on a jerkbait. But ended up finishing in 2nd. Next stop is in January at Pomme de Terre.